Previous occupations.
Snowboard instructor, drama teacher, and the most difficult job of all, father.
And Prime Minister?
Oh, right, yes, Prime Minister.
Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. Obviously, I love political satire. Unfortunately, a lot of political satire online is just mean for the sake of being mean, often leaning on sexist, homophobic, ableist, or racist tropes. So how do you do political comedy in a world this polarized? Well, our featured guest knows. You know him from This Hour Has 22 Minutes, where he does bang-on impressions of Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau. He even took his comedy magic to America's Got Talent last year on TikTok. He's the guy who can't have a good time, the pride of Victoria, BC. But Vancouver, you may know him from his time at Science World. He's Chris Wilson. Chris, what an honor. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This is great.
Now, how often are you actually mistaken for Pierre Poilievre or Justin Trudeau? Because I saw you outside of a Poilievre rally and people thought you were him.
Yeah, it's really just that one time that I went out dressed as him and then was walking around in public outside one of his rallies. So I think people just, in that specific instant, I think people really wanted to think that they were meeting Pierre Poilievre in person that close. So I think there was some sort of I don't know what the scientific thing would be going on in their brains, but they really just saw me as him. So that was pretty fun. And it was interesting too. I was dressed completely different. They went in and watched Pierre Poilievre dressed not the same as me, and then came back out and fully just believed that I was him having in completely different clothes. So
have you
most
ever
people just really wanted it.
Have you ever heard directly or through the grapevine about how Poilievre or Trudeau feel about your impressions? Are they secretly fans?
I don't know about what Pierre thinks, to be honest. I can assume maybe he doesn't like it. I think with Justin, I think he's the type of guy that if someone's doing an impression of him, then they're talking about him. So he's probably pretty into it. Now, I think he'd be more of a fan of the impression than Pierre would be.
Yeah.
Because Justin's been on the show quite a few times too. So he's definitely aware of the impression.
Well, you do a great job impersonating both of those folks. But I got to ask you, what makes good political parody or satire versus content that's just cruel? Because I think online, we see, particularly through memes, stuff that just feels like anger or hate that's dressed up as comedy.
Yeah, I think there's a few rules that I go with, and it's the impression can skew meaner when we're trying to do it, or we're going a bit too hard. But the one rule I try to do is when it comes to making the impression good, is I don't want to say anything through their voice that they wouldn't say about themselves.
Right.
That's where things can get mean. So it's Pierre would never call himself I'm a little weasel boy or something like that. He wouldn't say that about himself. So therefore, you don't do that. You find a way to show rather than say.
Yeah.
With that, I don't know.
The way you nail his voice, he's almost saying it through the voice there.
Right. And I always just playing. I feel like I'm playing Pierre and Justin through a place of love. I like that, being them when I'm impersonating them. I have a lot of joy and fun, just being in a scene like that. And with Justin, I'm just playing him sort of he's just confidently wrong, but he'll never admit it, and he's happy and he's joyful. And he's just very positive. And I would say even the Pierre impression does kind of skew, he's being very positive. He wants very much to be doing well. And then basically our angle is that he's just striving to do well and he can't achieve that. That's usually where the sketches are grounded. So
Right.
in that sense, I don't think they're very mean. It's just like you're just playing a character's want, and he wants to be prime minister, and that we just play that. And then the comedy comes out of those scenarios and what's happening in the news right now, and like he just hired a new campaign manager whose name is Steve Outhouse. So come on.
I assume the jokes write themselves in there. Yeah.
We don't have to try very hard with that one. There's something there, right?
Obviously, Pierre Poilievre, Justin Trudeau, these are polarizing political figures in an already polarized environment. Does it become hard to do political comedy without, adding to the toxicity that we have in our political culture?
Yeah, it's like, it's not if I wasn't at 22 minutes, my comedy isn't really very political. Like in the off season, I do make sketches and I put them on my Instagram. You can follow it. I'm Chris Wilson on Instagram if you want to. You don't have to. But there's like all the sketches that I put out on there aren't like politically driven or even at all skewing that way. So when I come on this show, there is that sort of new learning curve again each season. And I sometimes, like, they'll post online and they'll like do a collaboration with you. And in those cases, you got to stay away from the comments. You just have to stay away from that because people get into big debates.
Oh yeah.
And they can get personal too about me, because I'm putting myself out there sort of making fun of other people. So I'm making a target for me as well. So if I'm having a bad day and I want to feel worse, go to those comments.
Before I let you go though, can I get the last word from either Pierre or Justin? Whoever is readily available, I'd like to hear the last word from them.
I won't tell you who it is, and maybe we'll figure it out. All right, Canada, I'm coming for you. Bye now.
You're amazing. Chris, thank you so much for your time tonight and all the best at 22 minutes.
Oh, you too. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, catch him on This Hour Has 22 Minutes every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on CBC or streaming anytime on CBC Gem. He's Chris Wilson. Now, after some business, have you ever talked to a Zoomer, a young person, and they just stare at you in this unsettling way? That's the Gen Z stare. Our resident Zoomer, Nina Savage, will explain it up next.